Invading the internet, covering Web 2.0, coast to coast, worldwide, and everywhere in between. This is where you put the social in social media. We are Social Blade.
Actually, that's an outright lie. We are not Social Blade. Tonight, we are just the Jeff and Ergo show with special guests me and Aaron Ryan.
Wait, hold on. Why are you introducing if it's the haha? Oh, look, we got a laugh track also.
Party hard. No, so yeah, this is actually episode 61 of the Social Blade show if we're counting episode 1 of the Jeff and Ergo show. Next week we'll have episode 1 of the JD and Aaron show. We won't be inviting Jeff or Ergo to that show. The shows are being split up officially. We will no longer be one happy family. We'll be a split, divorced family of disjointed siblings going through the social media world. It brings a tear to my eye to think of that. But then I realized, wow, I'm in Vegas. They have BlogWorld Expo, and as you can see behind me, there's like lots of lights and stuff. Imperial Palace, Caesars, Eiffel Tower, something or another. This is BlogWorld Expo, where myself and Aaron Ryan are. Actually, I haven't even started participating in the BlogWorld Expo. I've been working all day in my hotel room. It is a sad, sad thing knowing that Miss Aaron Ryan is out interviewing people, getting interviews, being interviewed, participating, being social, and I'm just here, just an old fart sitting in my room and doing nothing. But for those who don't know who I am JD Rucker.
And the voice that you're hearing is Aaron Ryan.
I'm Jason Ergo. I got video. This is me right here.
And I'm Jeff Kreider.
And Jeff will be joining me in Vegas. I'm going to swap guests or swap hosts for this particular episode. Aaron is here in Vegas. When she leaves, she'll be crossing mid-air with Jeff. Hopefully they don't collide, and then Jeff will be here joining me for next week's Driving Sales Executive Summit, where I'll be actually interviewing him during a panel at the Driving Sales Summit as a Facebook expert, a guy who's taken Facebook to the extreme in ways that very few people have, because Jeff is an extreme guy. And so too is Twitter. Twitter is a very extreme site. They have their sites set on some pretty lofty numbers right now. That's your cue.
Wait. Twitter wants to have 1 million followers?
1 billion. They want to have 1 billion followers. That was our failed tribute to the Social Network movie. Thank you very much.
Good job, Jeff. Way to.
No, man. What?
Hashtag fail.
He led in with something different, man.
Fail. Yes, no. Twitter, the junior social network, the one that is loved by 3 of the 4 guests, or 3 of the 4 hosts of the Social Blade Show, has set its sights, according to former CEO Ev Williams, at 1 billion users. Now, there is a caveat here. They did not say when they would achieve 1 billion users. They just said that they would. So it's one of those predictions that can't fail. It's kind of like saying, I will die. You know, well, yeah, of course you're going to die. Everybody's going to die sometime, but
it could
you know,
it could fail.
1 billion.
It
That
could
makes me
fail
think of a
though.
different movie. Makes me think of a
Yes.
different movie, JD. That 1 billion users, and then you put the pinky to the chin.
I got it. Oh, it's a chin.
Yeah.
Oh yes,
Austin Powers, yes.
Yes. Wow,
That's a different movie.
we're loaded with movie illusion fails tonight. I just need to go. I need to go meet with everybody. I'm out of here, guys. I'm sorry. So you know, some people are reacting to it. Zeus Caravala, he's an analyst for Yankee Group Research, said 1 billion does seem a bit aggressive, but I do think over time, social networking will overtake email as the most popular communication tool. In that light, 1 billion isn't out of reach. Younger people will choose Twitter and Facebook over email. So the concept here is that making that kind of statement is not very far-fetched when you consider that those who are in grade school, moving up to junior high, to high school, to college, they're no longer going to be looking at email as a primary source of communication, whether personally or professionally. They'll be looking to social networks. The question for me is whether or not Twitter will last long enough to get to 1 billion. And by last, I mean, is their revenue model going to stand up? Are they going to not be usurped by some of the other social networks? They're making a stab at location-based networks, but the more niche sites such as Foursquare and Gowalla, and the larger site, the one larger site, Facebook, is also making a much stronger play than Twitter is at location-based. If Twitter doesn't get a set of features that will differentiate and will make it relevant above and beyond what the others are doing, then I think that it's possible that it could fail prior to getting to that 1 billion mark. We're not talking 6 months or even a year from now, but I'd like to see where Twitter stands in 18 months before I agree or disagree with Ev Williams' statement of 1 billion users. Guys, gentlemen, lady, what do you think?
No, I think definitely that they will, eventually. I mean, yeah, they could die out, but I don't know. I think they will definitely reach there. The question, though, I have is, which one do we think will hit it first? 1 billion users, that is. Facebook has over 500 million right now, and so I just put up a poll also to poll our audience here instantly, and at the moment it looks almost 50-50. Facebook's just barely leading. What do you guys think?
Right now, the Facebook is at 500 million, or they passed 500 million 4 months ago.
Mm-hmm.
Twitter is at 165 million. Let me make that statement before continuing.
However,
Aaron?
Facebook's been around for a lot longer.
Sure. No, absolutely. I agree. Aaron?
Facebook, well, I think we know what I'm going to say. I think
Okay,
Facebook
Jeff?
is going to get boo. No, I mean, Facebook, honestly, and I know this is what it comes down to with our arguments about what's better, and I'm not saying that Facebook is necessarily better, but it has more to offer. Yeah, I heard that cough, cough. But, it has more to offer, and so it attracts people more. I think that's why, I know it's been around longer, but let's just face it. I mean, there's so much more you can do from Facebook than you can with Twitter. And I think Twitter just needs to get on the ball and start doing different things. I mean, they've had geolocation for quite some time now, and really that didn't go anywhere. Who turns that on?
Yeah, that's very true. But who's using Facebook Places either, honestly?
I'm not
Places-
using Facebook Places.
Hold on, Facebook Places is super, 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 super popular. It has surpassed.
Well, because everyone's already on Facebook.
But that's
Obviously.
the point. That's the point. If you're on Facebook and you want to have a location-based service, that's where they're going to go. And it has surpassed Gowalla. It has surpassed Foursquare.
But-
Has
I
it?
mean, Foursquare
Really?
is pretty popular.
But hold on for a second.
I haven't
If
honestly seen anyone
You use
updating.
Places once. Does that consider you a user?
Oh, yeah.
No. It's not about once. I mean, it's actually being used by a lot of people. It's something that has become a part of their Facebooking. And that's smart. I mean, that's what it has to come down to. If you're going to have a service out there, you're going to want to have it integrated into something that people are wanting to spend all their time on. And that's why, Facebook coming out with Facebook Places, very smart move on their part, and now they're taking over. They're number one when it comes to location-based services. And that's not from one-time users. That's just how it's done. That's how it's done.
Well, I think that, if we're going to have this debate, which today's not the day necessarily for that particular debate, as there's another debate coming shortly. But if we are going to have this debate, I think we need to really look at the value perspective. It's business drives social networking right now. It may not have in the beginning, but now it does. People are being encouraged to either fan your business on Facebook or follow your particular businesses on Twitter. The question really is, which one is more valuable? Ergo?
Well,
Yeah, there's actually been there was 2 studies that came out this week. One from, I think it was Forrester, and another one from I lost the Social Twist. And both of these were studying basically Facebook and Twitter and seeing of content that's posted or products being talked about. Or links even being posted, what's more valuable? What's getting more traction? And actually, surprise, Aaron, I'm sorry, but Twitter actually won in both of these here. On the first,
I'm not surprised by that.
on the first study, it came out with saying Twitter followers are more likely to buy from brands they follow, which is 37% versus 21% on Facebook. So that's a pretty big difference there. And recommend the brands to their friends, 33% on Twitter and only 21% on Facebook. So, it's not a huge difference, but it still is, I would say, statistically significant there. And hold on just one second. So the other study also was comparing just, when you put out a link, if you you're either talking about something or I don't know, you're talking about your product or whatever you're doing on either of these sites, and you drop a link in there, tweets with links in them get on average 19 clicks, while Facebook shares only get 3 clicks on average. So on both of those things there, that's according to these studies.
Can I just say why I think
Go ahead.
I'm not? Well, can I just say why I'm not surprised by that?
Oh, yeah, go ahead.
Okay, because there's 2 reasons. Number one, even though businesses are driving social networking right now, it's only the tip of the iceberg. So we're not fully committed to that yet, but we will be. Secondly, Facebook is more about personalizing your brand, and Twitter, it's more acceptable to just be able to say, oh, check out this post, and then put a link. Where if you do that on Facebook, you have to find that social twist in your wording to make it more personable for that person to want to then click on it. So we're not there yet on Facebook where it's like socially acceptable, because a lot of people take Facebook personally, where Twitter there's a little bit more of a disconnect there when it comes to, okay, I will follow whomever interests me. Where on Facebook it's I'm going to friend my friends and family and possibly some other people that I'm interested in, but we're not going outside too far of that box as of yet.
So
wait,
at the end of the day, if you're a business or you're trying to get people to check out something of yours, you're in agreement that Twitter's the better place to go?
No.
Is that what I heard?
That's not what I'm saying.
I think that's what I heard.
What I'm saying, no, I don't think that, because the best thing you can do for your business is try to personalize it. But at the same time, for certain circumstances, Twitter is good, and that's why you should have both.
No, well, I think Facebook is starting to become more of a website for businesses.
It's like a microsite.
Well, yeah, I would agree with that. Almost like a business forum, or just some, extension of a website, or even a company's billboard. Well, I think Twitter succeeds where Facebook falters in that sense is that, you can have a conversation with a brand on Twitter and actually feel a closer connection with them than you do on Facebook, because it's a direct conversation, because that conversation is directed just to you. And
no, I disagree with that.
No, I mean, if you're talking back and forth between a brand, it is a direct conversation that others can see that brand is having that conversation directly with you. So not only are you having conversation with that brand, but you're also showing, or others are seeing, that you're having that conversation with the brand.
But that's not the problem of Facebook or Twitter. That's the problem of the person who's behind the business. If you're utilizing Facebook and you're utilizing it for your business, then when people comment, you need to directly comment. And that's why I always suggest, if someone, like, let's say, if Jason decided to comment on something that I wrote on my business page, I need to say, hey, Jason, and keep him separate from whoever else commented. Yeah. Because that's what makes it personable. But that's the lack of the businesses doing that. That's not because of a Facebook platform or a Twitter platform. It's easier to do it on Twitter because you just press reply and it goes at ergo automatically. So then it makes that personable feeling. So, brands on Facebook need to be more conscious of that people want to hear their own names. People are, let's just be frank. People are self-absorbed. We all are. We love to hear our own name. We love to be paid attention to. We want to feel special. If brands decide to take that next step in doing that, it'll be better for them, regardless of what platform they're on.
No, but people want to know what's in it for them. I mean, they do.
Absolutely.
And as someone who uses Facebook for business and does that same exact thing, you were talking about, when I communicate over our business Facebook page, I do that same exact thing. I communicate, I start the conversation. I actually, single out people and have a conversation with them directly. But I also do the same thing on Twitter. And I have found that on Twitter, the conversation is deeper, and you can reach people, and you can make brand advocates quicker on that platform than you can Facebook.
I think also just one thing that might be one of the reasons why Twitter is more valuable, or at least more people are more likely to interact with it. On Facebook, you're sort of at the whim of Facebook to determine what gets put on your newsfeed here, because they don't do everything. They just have top news, and they have their own algorithm to determine what people actually see, as opposed to you. I mean, you can still get to most recent, which will have everything, but they sort of have an algorithm there to determine what people see. So you don't see everything on Twitter. I mean, you can have your own lists, but by default, you see everything.
Yeah, and I just want to say
That might be part of it.
I want to say this. There is something very special and very unique about having to express a message in 140 characters as a brand, because we're so used to these large messages, all this in-your-face stuff, and when a brand is able to communicate in 140 characters, I think people can connect with them easier than in a different platform such as Facebook, where it's not the case.
Well, but a lot of brands like your business is fortunate enough to have someone like you to be able to word things and take care, basically, of what you're going to be saying in regards to the brand or on behalf of the business. But, a lot of businesses don't have that inclination of saying, okay, you know what? I'm going to make sure that the 140 characters is going to be worthy of someone else's time. And that's what it comes down to, whether it's 140 or on Facebook 425. It is about, what are you going to put there that's going to sound attractive, social, personable, but get your point out there so you can help brand yourself and get people to go to your page and snoop around and then eventually go to your website. That's really what you want. That's ultimately what they want. And then they want the actual lead to the buy, whatever it is they're selling.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow. That's I will go ahead and trump you all.
Well, just we had another instant poll here with the audience, and it looks like Twitter's winning about 75% to 25% for Facebook.
Did I just get trumped during my trumping?
You got trumped during your trumping.
My trumping was trumped.
Sounds like you're in Vegas.
I'm close to the Trump, whatever. So, no, my quick take on it is that if you're a business, you need to be on Twitter, you need to be on Facebook, you need to be focusing on both, and you should probably go ahead and hop on Tumblr, because the dark horse in this race, to me, of the triple threat, so to speak, the place where people need to be, is going to be currently Facebook for sure. Probably Twitter, as we've demonstrated tonight, and eventually, if not sooner than later, on Tumblr, because Tumblr is, in many ways, just the superior form of communication, and the community aspect of Tumblr is very reminiscent of what Twitter started off with, but even perhaps more so when Twitter was a deep-rooted community rather than a venue. It seems as if Tumblr has been able to reach extreme popularity without letting loose of its community aspect. So I just saying, mark it down. What is it? This is October 14th, 2010. I am making the semi-bold, not really that bold, but semi-bold prediction that Tumblr will be in the mix within 3 to 6 months as joining the conversation of Twitter versus Facebook versus Tumblr.
Yeah, I totally agree with you.
Go ahead.
Oh, sorry. I was just going to say, I'm just going to back you up, because I totally agree with you, because I think that no matter what you're trying to utilize social media for, unless it's like, you just want to show your family a few things. But if you're using it that you want to speak your mind, or if you're using it for business, blogging is very important. But because it takes so much time, that's why Twitter became so popular, because it's just giving that little bit of sense of your thoughts or opinions or whatever it is you want to share. And Tumblr is very much like that. So you're able to talk about what you're feeling, share your content, and also cross-brand it. So I definitely agree with you that Tumblr is going to come into the mix soon.
Well, let's continue down that theme of what's hot and what's breaking. Aaron, tell us, what have you learned in your first day? Your first full day in the United States of America was spent immersed with social media geniuses, gurus, wannabes, the works. You've been traveling around BlogWorld with all kinds of various, BlogWorld paraphernalia, and you've been taking some recordings. and you've been learning some things. What have you learned? Report.
Well, I have learned that you should wear comfortable shoes, number one. So,
Okay.
I mean,
Noted.
that's
You heard it
very
breaking
important.
down on the Social Blade Show. Wear comfortable shoes to Vegas.
Very, very, very important. And fortunately, I did, and still I'm in pain. But on top of that, I can tell you that if you haven't been to BlogWorld, this is actually my first time to BlogWorld, first time to Vegas. And, you know, somewhere that people recognize within the States as being really cool. So I'm super pumped about being here. And today there was a bunch of various conferences that were going on, and I enjoyed some of them and networked with people. I attended how to mess up your blog and then fix it. So I learned a little bit about CSS today, which is very interesting because, you know, we're always looking to up our look of, you know, blogging, and I'm sure a lot of people out there are too, and, you know, HTML is kind of out and CSS is in because it makes it easier. And I found out a lot more information that I never knew about. You know, you can Google it all you want, but unless you have someone who knows what they're talking about teaching you, you really don't get it. So, you know, the conferences that were going on today, I'm going to say, like, I thoroughly learned and felt like I was getting the money's worth of coming here. And I know a lot of people are like, well, it's really expensive and stuff. Unfortunately, I did not have to pay for my ticket. But if I had, I would say it is completely worth coming here. It is absolutely amazing. The people that interact with you, and I mean, it's kind of like Twitter. It's kind of like you're just in amongst this universe of people who just don't care about if they know you or if they recognize your face. They just want to talk to you. They want to network. They want to get to know, like, why are you here? What do you do? And what do you see the future in social media and blogging and just everything that, you know, is immersed in social media. It's like doused here. It's wonderful. I also attended Finding Readers for Your Blog, which was super exciting. Darren Rouse actually presented that at that specific conference, and he gave some really great tips. Tips that I will be sharing once I return because I'm going to be blogging the heck out of BlogWorld. And one of the things that he talked about in regards to getting more readers is start profiling your readers. So start profiling. So he gave us like 3 examples of people he made up based on his statistics, and he keeps those 3 people, those 3 profiles within his mind every time he reads. And I asked him a question. I gave us time to ask questions, and I got up and got on the microphone and asked, you know, what if you don't have a small niche? What if you have like something big like social media, and we do with Social Blade, we talk about social media. You know, if we went into smaller niches, like we just talked Facebook, just talked Twitter, those are the types of things that you could get, you know, readers a lot faster. But because we cover all of social media as much as we can, it's harder to reach out and try to get people to want. And I mean, that's what it comes down to for anybody who wants to cover something big. And I actually kind of made him stumble a little bit. He's like, I've never been asked that before, which was kind of cool. And he gave, you know, really good tips on just being able to find out what those readers' interests are within that huge niche, and then, you know, even putting categories on your blog or your website so people who have that specific interest can go there and read them. I also got that on video, so we're going to have that up on our YouTube in the coming days. There was also a great keynote with Mark Burnett, who is the creator of Survivor and Are You Smarter Than a Fifth Grader? And he's helped out Martha Stewart. He's having a brand new show coming out in the next few months, and it's really exciting because he actually announced it here. And the cool thing about it is, I mean, it's going to be with TLC. I mean, he's all over the place. And it's going to be with TLC, and what he decided to do was he went up to the people at TLC and he said, I want the announcement of this new show to be shown on a random YouTuber's channel. And they were like, huh? What? They freaked out. They're like, no, we're not doing this. And Mark actually had to say, you know, this is going to be the smartest move. Now, the new show is actually going to be a reality TV show of Sarah Palin. And it's going to be documenting her life. And so we have a clip of that I will be sharing with you. Oh, I got a lot of stuff to be sharing with all you guys because I try to keep you in mind while I'm here. I'm trying to ask the questions that you might want to ask, trying to talk to the people that you might want to talk to, and, trying to put you in the forefront of my mind. So it's like when I'm here, it's like I want to be able to come back and actually have some information that you guys will actually like. And that was really interesting. And I got some of that recording of Mark talking and Brian Solis interviewing him. It was really interesting. It was wonderful, and I had such a great time. And I've got to network with a whole whack of people from different types of blogging that is amazing because, there's so much out there, and it's so inspiring, and it gets your juices flowing. It really, you feel like you're just re-energized on the passion of social media. So this is only my first day, okay? So, I have tomorrow and Saturday, and it's going to be amazing. I'm going to have so much stuff. I have so much already of video and photos that I'm going to be sharing with you guys, and content that I'm going to be creating as well. And tomorrow's a big day because I'm going to try to meet Scott Monty. Now, we already have a Social Blade co-host that has interviewed him, but I'd like to have that opportunity. He's the next big guy on my list. And yeah. So it's been crazy, it's been hectic, and oh my God, can I tell you something? Well, because I have the full access pass, I have a break room that I can go to, and they have, you can charge up, you can do whatever you want in there, but they provide you with the most freaking awesome snacks, like, you drool over, as well as they provide you with lunch here with the full access. And I had, it's a 3-course meal. They give you a salad to start with, and then we had steak and potato and broccoli and carrots. And then they gave us this hazelnut mousse cake with this, like, really decadent chocolate triangle at the top. I took pictures. It's amazing. It was like, wow. And I sat down with a bunch of random strangers, and we all talked, and it was a bunch of females, and it was really nice. So, what a great day. What a great day.
Excellent. I want to apologize to our audience real quick. I know that Erin seems like she's low on energy tonight.
Just get out of her way.
She's not very excited about where she is. I'm sure it'll pick up over the next couple of days, but right now, her excitement level is low, her interest level is low, so just bear with her. I'm sure that it'll get picked up over the next couple of days.
No, I know. You know what? I don't really realize how fast I'm talking, and I'm trying not to, but JD really brought it to my attention earlier, and had said, like, are you drinking Red Bull? Like, and I was like, no. And then he was like, you're really talking fast. I'm really excited to be here, and I can tell you, like, yesterday morning when I was stop.
Just make
yesterday morning when I left Canada and Nova Scotia, I took my dog out before I left, and there was frost, my friends, on the grass, and it was like really cold, and I was like, I can't believe that I'm going somewhere warm, and this is the first time I've actually experienced dry heat. Because I'm used to humidity. So in Canada, in the summertime, you have like really nice weather, but then you have the humidex, and you have to always keep that in account, and you melt, and it's horrible. But then I come here, and it's like 90, which is like the highest temperature that I would experience, because it would be like in the 30s for Celsius. And, some days it'll be in the 40s for me, Celsius-wise, and I've never experienced that. So, but it's dry, and it's, like, comfortable. It's beautiful. First time I've ever seen palm trees, the lights, the strip, all of it. Fabulous. Fabulous. I already posted some pictures on my Facebook page.
Hold on real quick. I have to make a quick call. Yes, I need to order some Valium and horse tranquilizers by Saturday, or someone may actually have a self-combustion nuclear explosion here in Vegas. Yes. Social Blade, just built Ergo.
Dude,
Thank you.
I can't imagine being the person sitting next to you on the flight home.
The
Who, me?
11-hour flight home.
Well, I don't talk to people on the plane. Are you crazy?
Oh,
I
but
don't
you
know.
will. You will.
Talk
Have you ever been to
about-
BlogWorld? Oh, let me tell you about BlogWorld. BlogWorld. No, I love
yeah.
it, Aaron. Aaron, I am so happy. You don't. I spoke to Richard, who was our guest 2 weeks ago. Last week, 2 weeks ago. I spoke to Richard, and he was just ecstatically excited for you. It was like one of his happiest things to say. You know, I'm so glad we were able to help to get Erin here. She did the heavy lifting. She wrote the article that got her the free tickets, and then we got her flown out here and got her in a nice cheap hotel. And
No, and that's the thing too, guys. Let me tell you. Like, not only is this experience, and this is the thing, okay, and I'm just gonna say this, you know, I do work for TK Car Sites, and businesses which you should be using social media, but whether you sell it or you're using it to try to sell something, whether it's personality or things, you know, taking into account the importance of it and sending here, because I was talking to a guy today, and his company, he had a really hard time explaining to his company that, I mean, and he's the social media specialist for this company. And he said, you know, like, I'm going to go out there because it's really important. And they're like, well, what's the ROI on that? I mean, what are you going to get out of it? And he's like, well, I'm going to get experience, because this is like, I mean, it's semi-like training. If you're in PR, you would send them out to get trained, or whatever they were doing. And it's the same thing with social media. It's just not taken as seriously yet. And I'm so appreciative that the company that I work for understands it and was willing to send me here. And I'm up here in the Mandalay Bay with 2 queen-size beds, and you know, I'm here by myself. It's amazing, you know, and I'm so appreciative of that. And I think that more companies need to take that role in saying, you know what, it is important, and the better we acknowledge that, as well as help our company or the person who's representing whatever it is in regards to social media get more knowledgeable, I say do it. Whatever it is, whether it's South by Southwest or BlogWorld or any other type of convention that's out there, do it. I mean, honestly, I've learned so much in one day, and it's making me better. It's making me better. It's like going to school. That's what it feels like.
We have learned so much about your one day in 15 minutes that it's not.
I'm gonna stop. Because you guys are gonna make fun of me for like ever.
We're not making fun of you.
You guys are gonna be like, okay, when I'm cranky, Ergo's gonna be like, can we send her to Vegas? Can we just send her to Vegas?
Well, Erin has officially logged herself in as the what's the best way to put it? She will be our conference person going forward. Just not anymore tonight. Let's
move on.
Wow. So Facebook and Bing, Jeff, talk to us.
Yeah, I don't know how I can follow that up, but
let's try.
Yeah, I'll do my best. But it was announced a couple of days ago that Microsoft and Facebook have partnered up to bring their Facebook's like data to Bing searches. What this means for us users is now that when we search things through Bing, it will show where is appropriate, what links are appropriate, which of our friends have liked that particular link. For instance, they use the example in this particular article of Iron Man, and how when you search Iron Man, you would be able to see which of your friends like that movie through IMDb. What they're hoping to do is this brings more clout or to the algorithms, and also bringing more socializing to search engines, which I think we've had some discussions about, you know, social and search and what are the futures of both of them. So this is definitely a step forward in terms of integration. And what they're hoping to do in the future is eventually singling out individuals who find just unique stuff around the web, or, you know, rate restaurants well, or, you know, tend to have a following in terms of finding the perfect, great TV shows, great movies, obviously great restaurants, great places to go, great bars, and then make them an authority almost in terms of search. So, as an example, if JD, is a wine connoisseur and knows which sites are the best ones in terms of wine, and where to go, him liking that particular link will have more backing than the normal individual.
Okay, I have a question for you, Jeff. Back to the story that actually Ergo did in regards to which one has more clout, Twitter or Facebook. I mean, how are they able to scale with the Open Graph API with being able to like websites? I mean, that's gotta count for something. I mean,
No, I mean
am I
that's
making sense?
No, yeah. I mean that's big time, especially if you're giving clout to individuals who, show some type of authority in liking stuff.
But is that scalable yet? Like, are we able to figure out how much clout that does hold? How much significance it is going to be? I don't think we're there yet. And I think that's why that study that Ergo was talking about, it's extremely valid. But I think going forward with all of these liking abilities that Facebook's connecting with websites outside of its own, it's going outside the box. I think that might say something different.
The question is, I guess, is it
yeah.
better than PageRank?
Is
Say
what?
that again?
The question is, I guess, is this like data? I guess this is really the $1 million question. Are we going to find more value in people liking things than Google already has in PageRank?
Well, I think
Or any,
where this really comes into play is, are you are more likely to click on something and view something that your friends have obviously, liked themselves. And
well,
now that Facebook is really trying to group people together based off their likes or their, what they have in common, I think there's a bigger picture in here to really mine data and in terms of an algorithm and say, okay, these people all like the same thing and they're this type of person. So these people have some type of authority. This link, will have more authority. Does that make sense?
oh no, absolutely.
It does. Excuse me. But you know what? That brings back to what Mark Zuckerberg was saying, and he said it, just a few months ago that, and we actually talked about it on Social Blade. He wants likes to take over links. Do we actually think that's going to happen?
Well, Facebook's got to get to 1 billion users before that.
Wait, likes to take over links?
Do you think
right
likes
now-
will take over links? That's
right
what they
now.
want.
So it'd be like a like engine.
No, they're saying that it's going to, because people are clicking on links, right? That's our social norm right now.
Yeah.
But what Facebook wants to do is they want to basically replace links with likes. So all you have to do is like it. You know what I mean? I don't know how that'll.
No.
Well, okay, so keep in mind. So from a search perspective, when he's saying likes over links, links are currently the most important aspect of a website's authority. In other words, when Google and Bing and Yahoo to some extent, when they
that's what PageRank uses.
Exactly.
If you're linked from an authoritative website, that increases your authority.
Exactly, and it makes it to
Right.
where your ability to rank will be higher. What Mark's saying is that if you can replace that, and I don't think it could ever be replaced per se because it's too gameable, the whole like game. In other words, SEOs out there would just create 1 billion Facebook accounts and go from there. And we already know that there's an algorithm to potentially fix that. But either way, it could add to it, and I can see that. And I can see that because Google, just a quick example, Google used to, at one point, and to some extent they still do, love sites like Dig and Propeller and rest in peace, Propeller, and books. Back a couple of years ago, this is what really truly, Google loved it because it was a combination of link, but also there was a human factor. In other words, in theory, according to the way Google was looking at it, if a story becomes popular on Dig and is able to accumulate 500 digs, let's say, then that story must be something that is high quality searchable. In other words, it was utilizing Dig and other social media sites to give to help determine the relevancy of a site. So they tried the social experiment, and they still do to some extent. It has been dropped down quite a bit from where it was 2 or 3 years ago. So now what Facebook is doing, or is insinuating, is that if you get enough people to like your to like a particular page, or if enough people naturally do like it, then it must be a relevant and high quality piece of content that will be associated with particular search terms. Will it work? It could. It may work.
Or what's going to happen is the liking system is going to be this crazy explosion, and perhaps search engines are going to have to accommodate to that. Do you think? Is that even possible?
Very, very possible. If Facebook gets enough clout to where people, it comes down to the people. If people spend more time on Facebook, then, and that's where their engagement is, search engines, to remain relevant, will have to take that into consideration one way or the other. Mm-hmm. It's not even an option. They will lose their ability to get people to use them if a site like Facebook reaches a tipping point to where it won't be able to. You can't avoid it. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Am I not making sense?
No, you're making sense.
It makes sense to me. I hope it makes sense to you.
It does, and it's still in the premature stages, but I'm so excited to see this unfold. I'm just wondering how much clout it's going to have. Right now, Facebook is intertwined with a million various websites out there, and it's growing. And I'd love to see what else they're going to come up with to make sure that continues to happen. And then to see how is it going to change the way we utilize our search engines, and how that's going to affect the SEO aspect of it all too.
Well, one thing that could take it all down in a heartbeat, and this is going to sound like a joke, but I'm being absolutely serious. It is possible and potential that the government may have to step in someday and basically ixnay the ability of phones to be able to be used for sites like Twitter and Facebook, because all it's going to take is 1 or 2 deaths of people texting or Facebooking or tweeting while driving, to where somebody's going to have to get involved, and there may be laws changed that say if you're Facebooking or tweeting while driving, that you can get a serious fine, and they can actually figure out ways to find this out, maybe based upon GPS. In a court of law, they could always look at your Facebook history and say, well, you were driving at this point, and here's a Facebook update from you, so you fail, go to jail. Blah blah blah. But nobody does that. Nobody does Facebook or Twitter while they're driving, do they, Ergo?
No. Well, actually, there was actually a study that just came out this past week, and apparently 1 in 5 people actually do this, or at least they have admitted to it. I just put up a poll also in the room here for our viewers to see what our viewers say, but I know I definitely.
I'd like to know, out of us 4, has any of us done that?
I was just gonna say I may or may not be guilty myself.
Yeah, I do.
Oh my God, are you serious?
Only at stoplights.
Say the number of times, like if you were to tally it up, JD driving and not tweeting or Facebooking, or JD driving and not tweeting and Facebooking, I would say that it's probably I do it more often than not, unfortunately.
But there's already a law, you're not supposed to even use your phone.
Well, no, it varies from state to state, at least here in the U.S. I don't know about Canada.
Okay.
But in certain states, you're not allowed to text while driving. In certain states, you're able to. In certain states, you have to use hands-free while talking. Yeah. In certain states, you don't have to. So, I mean, it varies here.
The first auto manufacturer, I'm going to make a bold statement, number 2 of the night. The first auto manufacturer that comes up with a feature that is voice to tweet and tweet to voice, and same thing for Facebook. In other words, where you can tweet hands free, will be a winner in the automotive industry.
Hold on, JD. If Google can have a car that no one has to drive it, I think that somebody can easily come up with this.
And I'm sure that somebody's developing it. I just haven't heard who. I know that for a while, OnStar was integrating with Facebook in that way. very similar.
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
That can happen.
I thought there was a car already that was building that in.
Well,
They're working on the
honestly-
technology, but it hasn't been mass adopted yet.
Right.
Somebody needs to jump on that fast because that's going to be worth the money.
Well,
So-
Ford
I'm
has
surprised
sync
it's
system.
not
I
really
think
jumped on
sync's
already.
the closest that you get to it because sync can do voice to text to your phone,
Mm-hmm.
so you can talk into it and do that. I mean, in terms of, I would say the sync system is as close as it gets because you can sync your Pandora, you can sync a lot of different other stuff to it. But I don't. It would be interesting to see if they do Facebook, voice to Facebook sharing.
I'm
don't
really
forget-
surprised.
Well,
Yeah, I'm
this
glad
is
we're
the
talking
thing.
about this.
This is
It
the
goes
thing.
both ways, though.
If your
Facebook
car can
voice
give off
as
your
well.
location, if the person that can develop, your car giving off location and certain things will display within your car depending on where you are. I guess it's.
Well, I mean,
not explaining that
GPSs have done that
Well-
before. What are you trying to get at? I guess.
What I'm trying to get at is someone can. Okay, I guess this is more along the lines of advertisement. But
Oh, you mean like integrating the GPS into the Facebook, into the Twitter?
Well, I think what he's actually referring to
Yeah.
would be, I can see a future with augmented reality where based upon where your windshield will actually be able to interact
There you
with you
It's a
based
HUD
on
display.
what you're driving.
it'd be a HUD
Huh?
display.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And that will be tragic when that happens, and I'm gonna love it.
I'm really glad we're talking about this because I'm actually right now floored that I didn't even think of this before at the fact that, why isn't someone really trying to make money on this? I mean, people spend so much time on apps for phones and, they make money off of it. Why aren't people investing in doing that for vehicles? Because, I mean, we do have a lot of deaths that are in regards to texting and I mean, Facebook, I mean, just look at the numbers. I mean, we don't even have to get into that. The
Ford is
money
all
that
over
people
there.
could be making out of it.
Ford is actually trying to get people to get involved and to participate in these test studies. I mean, every other month I see something where they're bringing people out to Dearborn, Michigan to get their opinions, to let them test stuff. They're bringing out young people. They had this whole series where they had an entire college class basically work on their development and come up with the next stage of ideas. And I'm pretty sure that the sync thing that the next generation of sync that Jeff was talking about actually came out of that case
My
study.
touch system.
Yeah, there you
My
go.
touch
Exactly.
system is the next gen of sync, which is
Yes,
actually
and that actually came as a result of ideas from a college near Dearborn where they solicited. They said basically, okay, you guys are in control. You tell us what is next. What's the next big thing? What would you like? What would appeal to you and your generation in cars? And almost all of it was some kind of integration. There was one in particular. I think this is my touch. There was one in particular that really caught my attention, which was it was a follow the leader GPS. In other words, like you could sync up GPSs. Let's say you're trying. It's a caravan GPS. Like you could actually sync up GPSs to where, let's say you and 3 other cars are all going to the same place. You could actually I don't know. It was weird. I'm gonna stop there. Go ahead, Jeff.
Well, I'm just going to say good on Ford which, by the way, Ford is the only automotive company that is sponsoring BlogWorld. Because that is the type of thinking we need. We need that because we want Facebook and Twitter so much that it really does need to start being integrated into other aspects of our lives because we want to spend the time there. So people need to start thinking, how can we have that in what we do in our everyday lives that's normal instead of, basically spending all of our time on a computer or, break down in our faces of the phone. Like when we're driving and stuff, yeah, you're supposed to be focused on the road, but we listen to the radio. A lot of people go against the radio now and they want to listen to podcasts or they want to listen to books like Ergo. You know what I mean? So these are the
Ergo's
types
a
of
book?
things. No, he likes to listen to audio books.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
Yes, I'm a
I
book.
said books like Ergo.
That's funny.
Oh, yeah,
But
that
yeah,
shit looks like
that's smart thinking. Smart thinking.
Yeah, so I just wanted to, before we move on, the results of our poll here, only 37% say that they do not use
Lies.
Facebook or Twitter while driving? Well, we had 25% say yes, and 37% also say no comment. So basically,
They don't want to. They don't want to. You
Yeah.
know what? I don't blame you, but I've never texted. I've never tweeted. And the thing is we have the hands-free rule. And every province I've ever been to, that's the common rule. And Newfoundland actually just went that way while I was living there. But the thing is that I've never done it, and I really don't see the point on getting on Facebook while I'm driving. And that's shocking because
a lot of
I
it
love
is
being on Facebook.
a lot of it is just if you get an alert. I don't think the majority of people go on and as they're driving they decide to post something. I think it's more okay. I think for the most part it's I had a bright idea. I gotta tweet this or I gotta Facebook this. No, I think it's more of you receive an alert and you get a tweet or you get a Facebook and you want to reply to it. Then that's
mine is more of a. Mine is more Foursquare. I like to drive by places, check out houses, and then check in at their house and let them know that they need more toilet paper.
And then you become the mayor. But, I'm just going to say people should be aware of that and be careful because JD is right. Governments are going to be stepping in. And, in fact, they already do. And if you were to get into an accident and they check your phone that you were Facebooking and, they can track these things. They can check on Facebook. They check that for criminal activity all the time now, in murder cases, in cyber stalking, various things. So people need to be more careful.
I don't think you're far off because I know even police, if you have like a Garmin GPS or something, they'll even check your GPS logs because it logs your fastest speed. And they can see if you're speeding like that.
I actually published a story on my Facebook wall. I think it was a couple weeks ago that said the U.S. federal government, the United States the government here in the United States was looking to curb all the infotainment that's going into vehicles. There's a possibility that Congress could start a commission to really try to curb all these gizmos and gadgets like the sync system and everything going into vehicles, and basically go back to the basics. So
I don't think that's necessary. I think we just need to become more creative in our thinking, and I think we need to start adapting to a new way of doing things. This is what society wants. So we just need to figure out how is that going to coincide with the law, instead of the law trying to say no, you cannot do it. So I think that it's smart that they do get involved to a certain extent because we can't let it get out of control. But we need to start saying, okay, how can we work together instead of one overriding the other?
Can't we just all get along? So, on that note, we have about a 5-minute lightning debate that's about to happen. And this is about Aaron, sort of, but Aaron will not be involved.
Oh.
Ergo?
I know this is actually Jeff's here. Jeff wanted to talk about.
I'm sorry, I knew that. Jeff?
JD?
Jeff,
Aaron?
live
Ergo?
Streaming.
Okay, so
Twitter.
yeah, so
Hot potato, pass it on.
yeah, thanks. Who knows goes. Ergo and I last night were having a quick little debate that we ceased and wanted to bring it on to the show, which was I came to him last night and said, I've been following a lot of the conferences that have been going on in Vegas. At the time, it was a digital dealer conference. I said, I actually learned a lot from just following the stream throughout the day. And Ergo, responded with, I don't really do that because, what would you say, Ergo? You don't get a lot of, there's no value in it, is what you said, correct?
Yeah, we were talking about Facebook versus Twitter versus watching a live stream versus actually being there. And if, first off, which one, well, I think being there, we would know obviously has the most value, but if there's enough value in these other sources, like watching a hashtag for a conference on Twitter, if there's value there or if it's just irrelevancy.
Is it worth spending your time doing that?
Right.
If you cannot make it, is it a good substitution for not being there?
Right. So we on the screen right now, I do have the BlogWorld. I guess it's kind of after hours now, so maybe this isn't the best example. But just look at this right here. Is this useful information? just as I scroll through here.
Yeah, but I mean, you also have to think about how many people are there using it. The particular conference that I was following, I mean, I actually was getting some pretty good information because the people who were actually tweeting, there were, a handful, maybe 10, 12, were actually giving out, very useful information. I couldn't be there, but I actually learned some stuff off of it. But I mean, Blog World, I think there's going to be a lot more, personal comments, as you can see there. So I guess it really depends on the conference, but for someone who can't be there, I mean, I think it's a pretty good substitution, and you're also saving like thousands of dollars.
Personally, if I had to pick one of these, or between all the different sources, if there's a live stream, hands down, I think that would, for me at least, be the only actual useful way to watch something like this, unless you find someone on here that is doing a really good job of transcribing what someone's saying. I just don't think that a Twitter stream would provide any real value from an event like that.
Well, our very own Soji Shirts is tweeting about Blog World as we speak.
Hi, Tim. I know I was voted off this island, but I'm sneaking back on. I think that if it's something that is of interest to you, and you can't be there, like for instance, just what was it last week when Facebook had their Facebook event that they broadcast on oh my gosh, live stream, is it? Yeah.
The live stream. See, live stream, that's a actual stream.
No, Twitter's an actual stream as well.
Not video though. I think you really lose something. I'm sorry, Aaron. Continue. I didn't mean to interrupt you and steal the thunder.
It's okay. The thing is that I think if it interests you and it's something that you wish you could be a part of, or you're going to get value out of it. Because the thing is that what like one man's trash is another man's treasure. So to one person it's valuable, to another it's not. For instance, when Lost was on Ergo, I know it's not a convention and I know it's not an event, but it was a show, and you followed #Lost.
See, hold on. There's a huge difference there. If you're actually at a convention, I would say that the hashtag would be very useful. If you're remote, you're talking about Lost right there. So we were all watching Lost and tweeting about things that we were seeing on there. If I wasn't actually watching the show, then absolutely I would stay as far away from that as possible. First off, so I wouldn't get spoilers, but even so, even if I didn't care about the spoilers, I would much prefer to watch the actual broadcast.
Guys, I need to apologize right now, and I'm going to get hated on, but I have to agree with Ergo. I have never found value in following the tweets, the hashtags from a convention. When I'm at a convention, I'll tweet and I'll follow what's going on, and it'll usually be, hey, dude, where are you? Hey, man, I got an embarrassing video of you. There's actually one for DD9. Jeff, you were following them. Did you see Ralph's tweet of me?
No, I didn't see it.
Yeah, he did. It's pretty bad because he caught me after shot number 9.
After hours.
He caught me.
Oh,
I
no.
was about 9 shots in, and he interviewed me for 2.5 minutes.
And let me say, JD spoke very well, and he didn't slur, but his face didn't. What I was trying to say is this: I'm going to tell you that before I was coming to BlogWorld, I was following the hashtag for BlogWorld, and in fact, I mean, I created a post of various people that I saw that were coming. Of course, you can't have it all.
See,
but
that's
Aaron,
a huge difference, though.
Aaron, did you follow South by Southwest? That hashtag when it was going on 2 months ago?
But it was absolutely hurting.
Because you weren't going. Again, I'm sorry. I know exactly what you guys are saying. That if you can't be there, you might as well follow along through those channels. Now, what I will say is this: that those channels may be able to offer, following that hashtag, may be able to offer an occasional glimpse of like if somebody's doing live video, if somebody's doing a live blog post about it, then it can give you a way to track back. But for example, people saying I'm looking at BlogWorld right now. I'm just going to take it from the top. Disney fan, and then it's a link, BlogWorld Expo. Here's another one. I just finished 45 minutes on the treadmill and 30 minutes on the bike, blah, blah, blah. BlogWorld Expo. The Fat Tuesday Mall Bar Meetup. Again, it's just a link to the place where everybody's going to meet up. No interest. If I'm not at BlogWorld, none of these are going to help me. Interesting. Survivor, Blog World, some question. I think I have a goal of attending Blog World next year. It's a must. Okay, sorry you couldn't make it there, lady. Nice to see some great impulse. Point I'm trying to make is this: is that when you're there, or if you're going there, then it's good. Otherwise, and again, I'm sorry, Jeff. I love you, man, but I have to agree with the noise. There's just a lot of noise attached to the hashtags, and because it's a popular one, there's also additional noise. Now, maybe for a small, tight conference, that might be different, but for BWE10, there's a lot of tweets in here that are avatars of attractive women, just saying, let's meet up, and then it's actually a link to like some porn site or something like that.
Well, I mean, those are people that are abusing it, and that is a separate topic altogether. But I am going to say, you're mostly right. I'm going to agree with that. And what I mean is you're mostly right in my head, in my opinion. So, but I have to say, Amy Verdon, she hashtags various conferences she goes to that I do not attend, and I will click on it because I have a general interest in what she's attending, because it
not
usually
because
has
of the
to do with social media.
hashtag, but not because
But
of
the hashtag will let me know.
Right, but if you weren't following Amy, and if you didn't respect Amy, you wouldn't have clicked on that particular. You didn't. In other words, you're following her, so you saw the tweet because she's on your list, not because you were searching for that particular hashtag. Correct? Exactly.
Correct.
So,
But I will say this, and this is why it's so important. This is my lecture for the night. That when you're utilizing your social networks, you should be aware of who you choose to follow and who is following you. And
Exactly.
that's why every time I go to Twitter, I look at who's following me and I make a conscious decision of whether I'm going to follow them back. Yes, it's time consuming. Yes, a lot of people don't want to do that. But I think it's so important because when the people come up in the feed, you're going to want to know it won't be noise then. In other words, it will be noise.
You're absolutely right. I hand-selected all 96,000 people that I follow on Twitter. Now, you should see my tweet deck. My tweet deck, I follow like 14 people. It's sad. So, and I do follow one of you guys as well.
One of us. Which one is it?
But here's a quick note. Now, one thing. Now, back to supporting a little bit of what Jeff and Aaron are saying. 18 minutes ago, there was a tweet by someone who he calls it a totally kick butt summary of day one Blog World. And I click on the link, and it's a great link. It basically breaks it down. So in this particular case, I was able to, whether you say I lucked out or whether you say this is the norm. That's the real question, because this here is something that can actually be of benefit to someone who's not at Blog World, who wants to see what they're missing, who wants to get a recap of what's happening, and they could do that by following that particular hashtag. This was one out of. It took me 33 tweets to get to it, but it's there, and it is one that is of value that would support Jeff's case. I don't think that it matters. I mean, I think that it really comes down to the debate is not a debate of whether or not it's appropriate or not. It's a debate of is it appropriate for you
I think
or not.
That's right. No, you know what? You're exactly right, because let's talk about Mario Marathon. When we had Mario Marathon on, you couldn't go there, but if you why did people go hashtag Mario Marathon? Why?
Wait, Mary
You
Marathon?
couldn't be there.
Mario.
Oh, for God's sake, I'm sorry. And I'm in the
Jason,
States too. That's horrible.
Jason, did you follow that hashtag when it was going on?
I did not.
You totally did.
No, I didn't actually. They had. See now, it's a good way. It's a good way to give. Well, okay. The hashtag is useful for two things. There, it's useful to tell your current followers what you're doing, so you can tweet something and then put the hashtag, so you don't have to say this is related to that. That was what that's good for there, to bring other people in that are already following you. Or if you are at the event, which if you're using that tweet there, the hashtag for that Mario Marathon, those would be people that are watching a live stream. You don't actually go to that. It was a live stream anyway, so it was a way to follow conversation related to that, everyone tweeting about it. So that, I mean, your point still isn't valid there. That's completely different, because you could watch the live stream and actually
Jason,
see
did you
everything.
ask the audience?
I did, and the audience was Well, actually, there was just one more vote here. It was 33% for each of them, but now we're up to about 30% say no, it's not useful. About 40% say yes, it is useful, and about 30% say sometimes.
I'm sorry. I'm
Ergo, and I
sorry.
lose.
Is it just
Yes.
me? Is it just me, or is Ergo starting to say about Canadianish? Is it just me?
No, it's there. I
And
caught
it's
it.
so
You're
cute.
right.
Yeah.
I don't say
it's-
Mario though,
Aaron-
so it's
Aaron
okay.
did it. Aaron,
Yeah,
it's not
Mario.
No Mario or
guys,
yeah.
guys, hold on
Yahoo,
real
yeah.
quick. We cannot.
I can't even say
When
it the way you do.
just like if Ergo were starting to
Yahoo.
do methamphetamines, we wouldn't talk about it on the air. This is something that I'll bring up.
A boot.
I'll have an intervention with him later, and correct it. Don't embarrass him on the air, Aaron. That's just wrong.
I think we
I
need
know it's so wrong.
Yes,
I mean-
say Canadian things. Okay, we'll get that fixed. Don't worry. This is not.
I love
this is not
it.
anybody else's concern.
Aaron,
Oh, wow.
Aaron, have you been setting your drink down at the blog world? Just kind of leaving it in places?
Who?
You?
Me?
Probably shouldn't
No.
be your drinks laying around. People are going to start slipping stuff in them if they haven't already.
What is he talking about?
Oh yeah, no, you gotta have covered drinks at all times. Yeah, I forgot to tell her about that.
Oh, you never leave your drinks unattended. That's just like you don't tweet and Facebook while driving.
Listen, just I'm gonna show you this. Can you guys see my screen? I know Erin can, and she's the one that needs to see it. You need one of these. It is a
Okay.
drink cover. It covers your drink at all times on any glass, and it makes it to where nobody can roofie you.
Okay. Or you could
There's a lot
just
of
keep your
people-
drink with you at all times and
That's not enough. Some people are slick.
Oh, well,
Okay.
All right,
I mean,
guys.
that's covered. Now everything is a full circle. Everything's covered now. including our drinks.
This was an absolute jam-packed episode of the Social Blade Show, and the very first ever Jeff and Ergo show. I am so pleased.
Yeah, thanks for joining us as guest. Oh, look, we just lost Jeff.
On that note,
Just like-
Jeff is gone.
This
like
is now
I
the
quit.
Ergo Show with special guests
quit.
JD and Aaron.
Thank you for having us on, Ergo. I appreciate
Appreciate
the
it.
opportunity. Yeah, and if you want to ask me 4 questions, you can do that later. We do that with every guest, but
bro.
maybe not on your show. You could ask me, for example, why don't you ask me what Twitter, Facebook, and YouTube channels people should follow?
Yes, what should they follow?
They should follow Social Blade, twitter.com/Social Blade, facebook.com/Social Blade, and youtube.com/Social Blade.
Wow.
You can ask me how people could suggest a guest.
How can they suggest a guest?
If they go straight to our blog, which is at socialblade.com/show, they'll be able to check out our past guests as well as read up our social media, Social Blade style posts, and they can suggest a guest.
I have a question also. Do we have a sponsor, JD?
We do. Lightspeednow.com is our sponsor, and they have been our sponsor now going on 2 months, and I need to invoice them.
Well, while you're doing that, maybe you can send it to them via an SMS. How do people sign up for that via or for Social Blade?
They can always go to j.mp/subus. That's j.mp/subus. They can sign up for shows such as the Social Blade Show, which is 7 p.m. Pacific on Thursdays. They can also sign up for Ask Outcast, 8 p.m. Eastern on Tuesdays. Band on the Web, which is 10 p.m. Eastern on Tuesdays, as well as the Drill Down Show Wednesdays at 9:30 p.m. Eastern.
Now, JD, I just have one more question for you.
What question is that, Ergo?
Who are we?
We are Social Blade.